G'day there guys, shower thoughts always turn into shower conversations with myself because I am hilarious. Welcome back to another episode of r/am I the a-hole. Now if you love today's content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, a like on the video, and tell me what you think of all today's posts in the comments. Thank you. Posted by user AnonDad01, titled, Am I the a-hole for fixing my mum's bathroom instead of spending $1,500 on a phone? My wife and I have a daughter who just turned 14. We are not made of money, but we told my daughter we would get her an iPhone when she got to high school. School is starting soon, so my wife and I bought a phone and were planning to give it to her Friday. Unfortunately, my mother had some emergency plumbing issues in her trailer that need to be fixed. She had to use the public restroom in the trailer park, which is as unpleasant as you'd imagine. When she called me for the money, I did not have it, so I returned the iPhone and paid for the plumbing to be fixed. I did this without telling my wife, which I understand isn't the best thing. I did it that way because my wife hates my mother and wouldn't have empathized with the situation. I broke the news to my wife about the phone last night. She was irate. I explained the situation with my mum's plumbing and she didn't care. She told my daughter I sold her phone and made my daughter upset with me. Daughter has also expressed anger towards her grandmother. I made the mistake of venting to my mother about this, and today there is drama all over Facebook. My mother calling my wife names and vice versa. My wife thinks I'm an a-hole for breaking a promise to my daughter and not putting her needs first. She is upset I took the money without permission, but this was my money to begin with. My mum thinks my wife is an a-hole for trying to withhold money from her during her time of need. I think my wife is an a-hole for trying to turn my daughter against my mother and not allowing her to learn that some needs are more urgent than others. We have to prioritize. Am I the a-hole for fixing my mum's bathroom instead of spending $1,500 on a phone? Edit. I did want to get a cheaper phone, but my wife wants to get her a phone she can keep throughout high school. She budgeted for it and won't back down. Oh god, your wife specifically budgeted for a better phone for your daughter, and you turn around and do this to both of them. OP, your mother can go without a toilet for a few days or weeks until you guys can get it sorted. What if the worst case scenario happens to your daughter and she doesn't have a phone on her to call for help? In this day and age, you are genuinely risking your daughter's safety over the convenience of your mother. You are disregarding and lying to your wife about the severity of the situation when you know that your wife hates your mother. This is a stupid hill to die on. You are being thick in the brain right now, and that was a huge misuse of your wife's trust and both of your funds. All of that makes you the a-hole. I don't know how you're rationalizing this dire need for all the crap that you've done to your wife and your daughter. None of these things excuse your behavior. You are an a-hole for what you have done. Not the a-hole. It's not your money. It belongs to you and your wife. Big financial decisions are decided as a team, like when you decided to get your daughter a phone. By returning the phone, you broke the trust with both. Exactly. That money belongs to the wife as well. OP has no right to give away that much without saying anything. I also assume the daughter not having a phone could cause issues for communication, plans, school transportation, etc. that will affect the wife and daughter as well. That is true. People like to act like smartphones are a luxury, and maybe always having the latest model is. But you definitely need a smartphone these days. It's getting to the point where you're expected to download an app for so many things, and all the apps that kids use to communicate with each other and for socializing are on smartphones. This was especially important when the country was on pandemic lockdown. Also, if he expects daughter to get a part-time job in high school, she'll need it. I work full-time in an office job, but 2 years ago, I got a part-time second job at a retail store for the first time since college. Guess what I had to do to track my work schedule and get my pay stubs to the paychecks that I was mandated to have direct deposited? Download an app onto my iPhone. You're the a-hole, namely you and your mother. In most couples' relationships, any joint money gets to be decided as a couple. How was it your money and not your wife's? Also, payment plans. I own an iPhone, but I pay a set amount each month, not $1,500. Also, why couldn't your mother afford it? You suck and your mother sucks, and maybe you made the right decision, but you'll never know since you made a unilateral decision, and your mother decided to run her mouth on social media. Info. Is there enough space in your mother's trailer for you to live there after your wife kicks you out? You're the a-hole. Posted by user Anxious Gen Z. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my aunt she had no right to lecture me about hating kids when she was barely a mother? This happened a few weeks ago. I, 18 female, had gone to a small get-together at one of my aunt's houses. Restrictions have been eased, and it was only 10 people there total. I have 3 aunts, and I get along pretty well with them, except in situations like these with my aunt Natalie, 54 female, fake name. We were looking at pictures, and came across one of me and my aunt Natalie when I was 2 weeks old in matching Christmas sweaters. I made my normal comment about looking like a weird alien, while everyone went on about how cute the picture was. Natalie asked me what I thought of the sweaters, and I said they looked fine. She then said that she wants to give me hers, so that when I have my own kid, we can recreate that picture. I admit I did an a-hole thing and I laughed in her face. I hate kids and I don't want them, and I told her this. She got offended and told me I'll change my mind. That she did, and she was a good mother. I laughed even harder at that and said I'm pretty sure I'm never gonna have kids. I'm awful with kids, I have no patience, and I get frustrated very easily. To clarify, my aunt got pregnant at 17 with her oldest and blamed my grandmother for it because she couldn't go on a vacation around the same time due to some behavior problems. Then she got married to someone else a few years later and had 2 more kids who they pawned off to my mum, who is 11 years younger than my aunt, to babysit and take care of when she would work. My cousins are now 36 male, 33 female, and 31 male, and the younger 2 have a better relationship with the mother than their own. But she told me I'm too young to know for sure, and accidents happen. I'm an 18-year-old gay woman, which she knows. She called me a little crap for laughing at her about the sweaters, and I told her again I might have taken it too far here, that it's none of her business what I do with my own fudging body, and that just because she became a crap mother doesn't mean that it's gonna be my fate. My one cousin, her youngest, laughed slightly and said I have a point. She stopped talking about it and has been telling my mum she raised a crappy little tramp, and my mum told me I took it too far when I didn't have to. But all my cousins and my sisters said that while I did go too far just a little, they backed me up and said that Natalie was being condescending about my choices. I feel a little guilty, and I'm thinking about apologizing just so she'll stop bugging my mum about it, but I still believe what I said. So, am I the a-hole? You suck by virtue of just making these huge sentences for me to read and stringing me along, OP, god damn. I guess the laugh wasn't completely unwarranted in this situation. You made good points about the auntie and why she shouldn't be saying these things to you, and her history, so I'm on your side for that. She does suck for saying what she has said, and saying that you're gonna change your mind about having kids, and that you're gonna have an accident, and she knows that you're 18 and a gay woman, like, airheaded to say the least, she is. But saying that she became a crap mother doesn't mean that's gonna be your fate, to her face. Not nice. It's not very nice, is it? While it may be warranted, it makes you an a-hole for saying that. Unfortunately, sometimes when you're rude to people, when they weren't excessively rude to your face, makes you an a-hole, and that's just the reality of situations. It's fine to be an a-hole, you may be happy with it, but both of you suck here in this situation, both of you are a-holes. Everyone sucks here. She was being obnoxious, and you met her there. I mean, I'd probably do something similar maybe, but I'd also be wrong. This one's tough, but I don't think that OP is the a-hole because her cousins agreed with her. Like, she's obviously a crap parent and wanted to brag about how she wasn't. What sold me on everyone sucks here was that this started when Aunt said something reasonably innocuous. I'm gonna give you my sweater when you have kids to reenact this pic, and OP immediately laughed in her face and said she hated kids. A couple other times she mentions she reacted in a way she herself felt was the a-hole. OP is gay. OP doesn't like or want kids. OP laughed when crappy parent aunt did the whole, "Oh, you'll understand when you're older" bullcrap, completely negating OP's feelings. How is OP an a-hole here? The gay thing doesn't even matter in this story. OP was the a-hole by immediately being aggressive in the situation. She could have just laughed it off or something, instead of making things bad. Not the a-hole. I do think you went all in when you didn't have to, but goddamn do I hate when people go on about a woman having children when they've expressed not wanting them. Like, sure, the woman might change her mind at some point, but it's nobody's business, honestly. You're an adult explaining your plans to another adult, and that adult condescended at you. Retaliation is a bit immature maybe, but normal. Posted by user Baby Am I the A-hole Throw 27, titled, Am I the A-hole for bringing a baby to a class? Hi, please let me know because I'm honestly not sure. For context, my university is completely online. I'm male and 20 years old. Okay, last week, a family emergency happened, and it required my aunt and uncle to leave their house at late night. I live close to them, and they have a baby that's less than a year old. So, they called my parents to tell them about the emergency, and then called me. They asked me if I could come into their house, take care of their baby until they come back, and I was down with that. I've taken care of babies before, so this wasn't new to me. I took my stuff and drove to their house and stayed with my cousin. Now, by the time my morning class comes about, my aunt and uncle haven't shown up yet, which was expected, and they told me that they'll be back by 1 to 2 p.m. And I had my baby cousin in my lap, setting up my laptop for my morning class, and my cousin falls asleep and I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. A sleeping baby is the best kind of baby. Just do not move them. Now, here is the problem. I had a presentation to do, and my video is off. And as I'm preparing to give it, the professor goes, OP, please turn on your camera. I say, I have a sleeping baby right now, so is that okay with you? A sleeping baby? Yeah, there was a family emergency, so my cousin's asleep on me right now. I don't want to say the details in class, but I can email you after class and supply any proof you need. It's fine, just please turn on your camera. So I do, and my cousin is asleep, and I give the entire presentation, and I'm really proud of how it went, because I think I did really well, and I answered all questions, and my cousin didn't wake up. Like, this is the best case scenario. Well, last night, I got my grade for the PowerPoints, along with an email from the professor that says she marked me down because she felt the baby was there as a pity prop, and I was attempting to gain sympathy. And if I hadn't had the baby, I would have gotten higher. So, was I the a-hole for showing up with a baby? I didn't think about the pity aspect. Edit, sorry for the sporadic replies. I am still a university student balancing my crap. Few clarifications. Yes, I did send her the proof she would have required to see there was an emergency. Yes, I will be reporting and updating. Yes, there were better ways I could have done this, but a stressed and sleep-deprived student isn't normally the best source of judgment. The class was a philosophy one. I think she's the a-hole in this situation. I don't get why you would get marked down for having your baby as a pity prop. I don't feel like that's a normal thing to be having when you're doing a university presentation. Even online, I feel like it's genuinely not that common. I don't know where she gets off on thinking that she can just do that to you. And yeah, like you did, I would report her too. I can get where she's coming from, thinking that you're an a-hole for intentionally using the baby there. But the baby didn't wake up and it didn't ruin anything. She's got a twisted mentality if she just ignores the evidence and fact that it was in fact a family emergency and you weren't using them as a pity prop. Definitely not the a-hole. No, not the a-hole. You should take that note from the teacher to academic affairs. It's inappropriate and out of line, and your grade shouldn't be lower because of a professor's bias. I've been in grad school and had peers bringing babies into the classroom, and there is no penalty, because you gotta do what you gotta do. This right here. In grad school, there were several young couples with babies or kids. They were often in class or in the lab or field with them simply because they had no choice that day. Babysitter got sick, husband had to work. It's pretty normal. Exactly. People bring kids to class all the time. My mother literally brought me to class with her when I was 4, and I'm pretty sure I remember the teacher even saying hi to me after class. I've had a teacher bringing her child to class because she's a single mother, had an emergency, and didn't want to bail on us. We were quite close to exams. Honestly, OP's family had an emergency, and the baby didn't disturb the lesson, not the a-hole. Wow, not the a-hole. What's next? She notices a cat sleeping in the background and marks you down for trying to get pet points? I'd report her. It could be her pet peeve. It could be a catastrophe. Whoa! Posted by user J. Sallin. Titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to split my college fund with my stepsister? Okay, this is kinda awkward to be typing, but here goes. I, 17 female, have a college fund started by my grandparents, maternal and paternal, with some of the money coming from my parents. The fund was originally for me and my sister, but my mum and sister died 4 years ago, and my grandparents, who hold the account, chose to leave it all for me and continued paying into it. My dad remarried 18 months after my mum and sister died, and he has a stepdaughter who is the same age as my sister would be if she were alive. She's a high school senior now, and talk has turned to her going to college. Her mum was single until she married my dad, and never had the opportunity to start a fund before. They have something saved, but it's not enough and won't be. So my dad asked me to share mine with her. He said it was always intended to be for 2 people, and my sister would want her money to be used by someone in the family. I told him it was being used by someone in the family, me, her sister, and he replied that stepsister is our sister too. I told him no, I only have one sister. This is how I feel, and I know people will give me crap for that, but I only have one sibling and that's how it always will be. That's not personal against my stepsister, but we're not sisters or even family beyond her mum being married to my dad. My dad said he was telling me I need to share the money. I told him no. He went to my grandparents, his parents, and they said it was for me since my sister could no longer use it. He went to my maternal grandparents then, because they were the 2 who originally set up the account, and they told him they have no obligation to fund my stepsister going to college because she isn't their granddaughter. He's back trying to force me to say yes. His wife and her daughter are also telling me it's the right thing to do, and it's what we do for family, and my sister would want me to, which pees me off because they never even met my sister, let alone know what she would want. Am I the a-hole? No way, what? Look at all this pressure coming from them when in every direction they're getting a no. It's obvious that they're in the wrong and they don't want to take no for an answer. They want an easy way to get her through college, and they're going to continue to pressure you. You're not obliged to do it. You're not an a-hole for saying no. The circumstances of this money are so upsetting and sad, and I hope that you're okay, OP. It just feels like they're continuing to open up scabs and wounds that should be healing in the past, and they continue to bring your dead family into this. It's really not right. They don't deserve that money. And if the stepsister wants to go to college, she can do it however she wants. She and the rest of her family are an a-hole for pressuring you. You are not the a-hole for turning them down and keeping the money for yourself. Hey everyone, this got way more attention than I was expecting, and so I'm going to post a response to some stuff here because I don't know how to reply to every specific question asked individually. I don't worry that my dad will get his hands on the money. I'm not going to be forced into this, and I will be gone before I have access to the money. This has already really hurt my relationship with my dad. I'm not really sure there will be one in a year. I'll be 18 and can live my own life and get some peace from all of this. I'll finish high school at my grandparents' probably, since that's where I plan to move once I can just leave this house. It makes me sad, but I lost so much already, and I'm going to be okay. It will just take some time. People have talked about his marrying again 18 months later, and I know there has been debate on this. I didn't pay much attention to this in my original post because I knew I would get crap for voicing how I felt. But it sucked. He has handled everything in the worst possible way, and I hold some resentment towards him for it. I do think he deserves to be happy, but I have been drowning in grief since I lost my mum and sister. Knowing he could try to replace his wife and daughter so soon after he lost them sucks. It hurts me. But he would see me as a brat if I told him this again. I already expect people to say that when they read this. Not the a-hole. I would tell your grandparents what is happening and get them to put a stop to it. Your dad and stepmother are trying to manipulate you into feeling guilty, and now they've roped your stepsister into it too. Do not give in, please. But it is downright awful that they are forcing you to choose. Agreed. What the father and stepmother is doing is disgusting. The grandparents even clarified to the father that the funds are for OP's exclusive use, yet he's still attempting to convince OP otherwise. The father is stepping on so many boundaries without any regard to OP's wishes, feelings, and consideration. I don't fault OP for cutting contact as soon as she leaves for college. Not the a-hole. In point of fact, your father was already an a-hole for zombifying your sister's memory to puppet words into her mouth. But he made himself a bigger a-hole when, upon failing to acquire your agreement, he shopped around to family, hoping to pressure you into it. He, your stepmother, and stepsister have since repeatedly reaffirmed that they are the a-holes here, especially because neither your stepsister nor your stepmother had ever met them. It is trashy to guilt people through the memory of a lost loved one. My recommendation? Move out ASAP, and before then, reaffirm your beliefs by changing all verbal references to your stepmom and sister to dad's wife's daughter, or by your stepmother's first name. It's bratty perhaps, but clearly some people have gotten far too comfortable. Okay, and I think that's where we're going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something from these stories. Just want to say a quick shout out to my Patreon subscribers and my channel members. You guys should be on the screen right now. If you do see yourself, I want you to give yourself a little pat on the back for being amazing and supporting me on this channel, this little journey we're going on the YouTubes. I really appreciate it, and you guys enabled me to do all this amazing work. So if you do see yourself, I love your face and I'm happy to see you. Also guys, if you want to pitch in your own support, you don't have to, but channel links are down in the description below to support the Patreon, the channel membership, whatever you want to do. It's kind of like tipping me if you feel like I'm doing a good job on this channel. I will be opening up avenues for content on those in the future. Just right now I'm kind of bogged down and stuck in Ireland, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway guys, with that said, I do hope you have a wonderful day today. Whatever you're up to, I'd love to know down in the comments below. I do hope you have a good day, night, sleep. Whatever you're up to today, tell me, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Bye.